Hello legends. So have you ever wondered how tools like VoiceFlow, Vapi, or Make.com can service hundreds and thousands of users and allow each user to deploy a new caller or a new agent or a new scenario in a matter of minutes? Like, how does that infrastructure work? So in this video, I'm going to give you a beginner's overview of how a simple database and a simple code base can service a large number of users. All right, let's get into it.
All right, you crazy maniacs. Let me give you a crash course on what I've learned so far. So I've just got a very basic layout here, which is a database on the left-hand side of 3 tables, and then a front end, which is a kind of like a, let's say a HTML page, where you have a login, a main dashboard, a settings page, and then a transcripts page. And let's kind of run through this quickly. And imagine that this is an AI caller, like a Vapi. So you log into Vapi, you have your username and your email, then you have a dashboard where you can see all of your AI callers that you've made, and you can add a new caller as well. And if you click add a new caller, it'll take you to a settings page, and on the settings page you can set variables like prompt, temperature, whatever else. And if you actually just click into the caller itself, it might take you to a transcripts page where you can view all the transcripts, so all the conversations that have been had. And this is a very basic representation, but you see at a high level, like it does everything. You log in, you have your logged in information, which is the callers that you have. You can add a new caller, and you could also view the caller's transcripts. There's a lot more that Vapi does, like their UI will be fantastic, has a lot more, it does reporting and all this kind of stuff. But essentially, like this relatively basic interface and functionality does go very far. Like you can still, like let's say for an internal use case, you have an agency where you're making AI callers for customers, and you want to deploy multiple, each day. You could just add a new customer, add a new caller, and add the settings and view the transcripts. You could probably even make this page public to the user after they log in, and they can just like look at all their callers and their transcripts for their callers. So you can even make a dashboard where they could log into your own portal. Anyway, I'm kind of going a little bit further with my own thoughts here, but super cool. You could do a lot with this. Now, and I'll show you the code base, right? Like, let me just quickly flick into here. And I'll make this available on my Gumroad. But over here is the app. So it's just a basic deployment. It's a JavaScript, it's a node deployment. And we have a public folder, which includes our HTML pages. And okay, you don't see the app yet, I'll show you in a second, but just to kind of give you the underlying principle of this, I've only got one set of HTML pages. So like the dashboard, the login page, whatever, all the settings pages, one deployment of that is shared across all the users of the app. There's not like 10 dashboards, 10 generators, 10 index pages. It's just one. And same thing with the code. So the code that runs all the functionality of the app that I'm going to show you in a little bit is just one script each. There's like a script for logging in, a script for adding a new caller, there's a script for changing settings, whatever it is, but that one script is shared against all the users. So if I ever need to come into here and be like, oh, I'm going to change, this thing to be even more efficient, I just need to change one code, and then I deploy it, and then it like now propagates across all the users, and it's so easy to manage. So there's obviously questions of like, if you have 1,000 users, will this one code deployment be able to handle 1,000 concurrent operations? That's totally like outside of the scope of this conversation. So you can see here that you would technically just have one like HTML page and one script for all the functionality, and then every user is using that whole thing. Anyway, so for databases, the main thing that I learned here is I was initially thinking that, okay, for each new user that I add, do I have to add a new database or a new table or something like that? And while I think for smaller scale operations you don't need to, maybe for larger ones they might like split databases by region or by, I don't know, whatever. But again, for our purpose, for like this smaller scale SaaS deployment, 3 tables can get you everything you need for this current, let's say, AI caller SaaS that you're making for your internal tool. The first table will be a users table where each user has a unique ID, and then there's variables associated with that user. So maybe the variables are username and email address and password. So they can log in using the user one email address and password, and maybe their username is now displayed on their account somewhere or whatever. But like, this is what you would have. Like each user is a separate row in a database or in a table, and it has like their, let's say, login information and whatever else. So after you log in, now you're displaying only, like for these pages, only what is relevant to user one. So if you go across to the callers database, let's say the callers database is the high level table that holds all the callers that you have on your account, and the conversations database is all the conversations that you have on your account per caller, right? So on this page, the main dashboard page, and this is what you would see in make.com and Vapi and VoiceFlow, your main section where you can either add a new caller or a scenario or a VoiceFlow agent, and then it would just show you all the current open ones on your account. So what you would do here is for the callers database, you would just, again, the very first would be like, the very first cell would be the unique identifier for that input, which is, let's say, the caller ID. And then you have to associate it with a user. So there's a relationship now between the user and the actual caller. So you can see here, when we logged in as user one, we're displaying caller one and caller two because user one is associated to caller one and user one's associated to caller two, but then user three has caller three. And this is, let's say, our entire table for now. Like, this is all we have. We only got 3 entries each. So that's why we're displaying just 2 callers over here, because that's what's from the table. So this entry from this HTML page would just be a dynamic retrieval of whatever is from here based on the user that's logged in. Very simple, right? And like from these pages here, and again, I'll show you the app later on, but from these pages, I think dashboard's the main one. 35. Is this it? No, I can't remember now. Main content, create new generator. No, this is it. This is the this is meant to be that main dashboard page. 35 lines of HTML. It's just ridiculous, right? Obviously, the JavaScript that's associated with adding a new caller or whatever it's still a separate script, but you just see it's very simple deployment, or it can be a very simple deployment. Next, we have a caller setting page and a transcript. So let's say you add a new caller. Then you have, okay, you put the name of the caller here, whatever it is. So yeah, maybe one of these variables, like variable 1 might be the name that you give to the caller. Variable 2 is now going to be from the settings page, which might be the prompt or the temperature or the whatever else settings you have for your AI caller or whatever function is that you're duplicating here. So now the callers table, you can see would have all the settings, for example, for this caller. And again, we're just using AI like Vapi as an example. All those variables are listed here. So you save your settings when you add a new caller, and it adds a new row to this database. And then we would technically, let's say, have, if we added a new caller, it would be called whatever it's called, but the ID would be caller 4. But typically the ID is not caller 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like a string of like 10, 20 characters, whatever it is. There's like actual formats that you use for this. And anyway, so you have the settings page here, and all the variables are saved. And finally, if you click one of these, so let's say caller 1 or caller 2, you click caller 1, and it takes you down to this transcript page. So now you can see all the conversations that are associated to caller 1. And in the exact same way that you had here, like user 1 for caller 1, user 1 for caller 2, we list them. If you click caller 1, now you can see transcript 1 and transcript 2 relate to caller 1. So there's a relationship between these two tables. Then you have caller 2 for transcript 3. So yeah, we're only listing transcript 1 and 2. So at a high level, this is a very basic deployment of the app. Like, it's super, super easy. And I think the database is also pretty easy to understand. And I'm just going to jump across to this tool that I built. Very basic tool. It's using this code base that I showed you before. It's this deployment. Very simple. 3 main HTML pages, 3 main JavaScript functions for like logging in, adding a new, well, this is a quote generator, adding a new generator, actually generating a generator. So like one of these, I think generator is this. The actual functionality of how to create a quote is just using a basic ChatGPT completions API call. So I forgot where that actually sits, but this is the app. So I'm going to sign in with one email address. I've signed in. Okay, got to change my password, but whatever. Very bad UI here, but you get the idea. We have a logout button over here, add a new generator, and then it lists the generators. So it's pretty much the exact same thing as this. We just logged in. Then we have add a new generator, and it lists the generators. So I've got Bart's generator and Chris's quotes. And if I click into Chris's quotes, I have all the quotes that were generated from this, so all the history. So like this, so it's a separate page. And if I just go back one page and I click on edit, I have the settings page, which is this page essentially here. So I've just built out, it's very basic. You can see it's like the UI isn't super nice, but it has the name, it has the API key. So these are all just individual variables that are collected in this database here. So we had caller one, which is called, I think, Chris's quotes, associated to me, user one, and it has, it has a name, it has the prompt, the API key, and the temperature. So if I go to my database, and this is called Chris's quotes, I'm going to find this. So I have generators here, which is this table. This equivalent to this table. I have generators, and I have Chris's quotes. So this is the generator. So total generators across the entire, like every user, there's 5. We can see this user, which is a demo one. Let's just leave this out for now. But you can see this user, 14371. Okay, so these are both the same. This is me. I have Chris's quotes and Bart's generator, which is what we saw before. I'm just going to quickly go and show you. Chris's quotes and Bart's generator dynamically loaded from that table. But inside Chris's quotes, we then have all the generated quotes. So Chris's quotes, the ID, the actual ID of this, so this is the unique ID, and that would be like the name in that variable here. The ID of Chris's quotes is 229E5, and that's easy enough for us to tell. So I'm going to go to generated quotes, and basically from here, these are all the quotes. So this is all the quote IDs, and over here is all the generator IDs. So you have all the individual transcripts, for example, or quotes in our case, then they're associated to the caller from here. So in our case, we have the quotes associated to the generator. So I have the quotes associated to the generator, and the actual content of the quote is here anyway. But I had, what was it? So I'm just going to skip back here. 229E5. So every time I see a 229E5, that's one of the quotes we're going to see. One of the quotes we're going to see. One of the quotes we're going to see. And whatever else. So I think that's 3 quotes we have over here. And one of the quotes, I'm going to go into Chris's quotes, I'm going to find it, is sometimes the best way to start the day is blah, blah, blah. Sometimes the best way to start the day is blah, blah, blah. And we have 1 quote, 2 quote, 3 quotes returned from the table. So as you can see, actually we only have 2 tables here because the users table is managed by supabase, just by like I don't even know how, like inherently it's managed there. And that's what manages the login as well. So it's super, super easy to manage multiple users. But just to show you, it's like super cool, right? I think, by the way, when you download this, when you click this in general, it flicks to the settings page before going to this generations page, because the code generator HTML, I think this would show the settings panel as well as showing the generated quotes. So I must have just done a really sloppy job here to like just make it flick and show and hide depending on what you click. That's why it kind of flickers there. But it's just one, it's just one HTML page there. So if we see here, by the way, Bart's generator and Chris's quotes, I'm going to log out. I'm going to log in with a new account. And log in. So we have, now we have same warnings. Same exact page, same layout, add a new generator, funny, motivational, we have a logout page. And now our 2 generators are funny and motivational. So go to the generators page, we have funny and motivational, and the user ID, 4EA2, that's the one that I've just logged in with. And yeah, it's pretty cool. So it's very, very easy. Again, let's find the ID of the generator here, 222 to start with. So generated quotes for 222. We're gonna find 222s. So we have one here, the only way to achieve, 222, 222, and then one more up here, so that's 4. And 222, what was that? For motivational. So we're gonna be expecting 4 quotes for motivational. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, maybe I think I counted a little bit wrong. We have 5 quotes here. And if I generate a new quote, for example, it's going to generate and fully add. So success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. So let's find in the generated quotes. Let's refresh this, and success doesn't come from what you do occasionally. So I don't know why it's not, adding it in order, but that's what we just did for 222, which is the, which is that motivational. I think it's the motivational one. Yeah, I'm not going to check it again. But you guys see at a high level, this is a very simple code base. Has a login page, has all the stuff that we spoke about here. And it has just, well, 2 tables for this database, but the third is inherently managed where you put the users. So yeah, there's like three tables in one database managing 2 users just now, but you can add 5, 10, 15, 20. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to see more videos like this of me just kind of exploring more of this kind of SaaS setup and how it would be deployed, or just learn about more of the back end, how a database might be built, how to do relationships between tables, and how to just deploy, 1 script instead of 100 scripts. I'm happy to do some more learning and keep putting content out. Just comment below that you want to see that. Like the video, subscribe to my channel, all that kind of stuff. I would appreciate it. And yeah, this will be available on my Gumroad, so you can go ahead, download this, and try it out for yourself. All right, thank you very much, guys. Have a nice day. See ya.